Good afternoon, everyone. How's everyone this afternoon? My name is Eric Lariviere. I'm the general manager of the FLATC MARKHAM Theater. I want to welcome you today to this very first interview conversation with a great artist as part of the Artists on Lockdown. And this is also something new with the FLATC MARKHAM Theater as part of our Live and Connected season that was just launched this week. So today we have a great guest, probably one of the best Canadian musician artists of his generation. Let's call him the king of boogie woogie. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Michael Kaeshammer. There you
Hi,
go.
Eric.
Hey, Michael, how are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. I'm great. So, of course, we're virtually meeting today, which is the ways for the past year and so.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm talking to you today from Toronto. And where are you today, Michael?
I'm on Vancouver Island.
Vancouver Island. So is
Yeah,
that home?
it is. Yeah, it feels like home, and it is home. And I've spent my whole lockdown here, and I mean, I don't miss traveling too much, but I really miss the shows, and I miss coming to Markham and playing with my band.
You bet, you bet. And we miss you as well. So, Michael, let's have this conversation with going back to the beginning, right? How did you find music, or how music found you ultimately, and how did you
Right.
get to study music? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I grew up in Germany, and a small town in Germany, and my dad always played some piano around the house. So he would play, and I would see the joy he had in playing. And he was playing a lot of ragtime music, um, stuff like that. And he would just love it. And when we had people over, it was like the life of the party. And so I thought my dad, I still do think he's the coolest guy because of the way he played piano. And so I wanted to be like that. I wanted to be like him. And he showed me some rudimentary blues, 12 bar blues, and ragtime things. And, you know, when I was 7, 8 years old, it was time to do lessons. That's usually when kids go into lessons. And then my mom took me to the conservatory in the city nearby. And and they had free lessons or free openings in piano and trumpet. And she asked me, "What do you want to do?" And you know, it was a given. I was like, "Piano." Um,
I think
Otherwise,
I
I
think
might be
she
sitting
said
here with a
she
trumpet
chose
right now.
both because she knew what the choice would be right away.
I'm sure it was a lot easier for them to listen to me practice this way too.
That's for sure. Yeah, she didn't
Yeah.
propose drums or something like that.
No, my brother actually played drums, and
Okay,
so I think they had a. It sounded like someone was building a house.
okay,
Yeah,
brilliant.
so that
And
that's
then you
how
went
I.
to the conservatory,
Yeah, and then I went to
and
the
you studied.
conservatory.
So you have a classical background. So how many years did you study classical music?
Well, I had a really great first teacher, and she showed me. I never had to worry about technique. People comment on my technique sometimes, but I never even thought about it. And I think it was because of this first teacher, the way she um, just taught me how to move the fingers on the piano and how natural it should feel, rather than, a lot of times piano teachers will write fingering in classical music on the page, but everyone's fingers are different, everyone's hands are different, so um, that doesn't apply to everyone. And so my first teacher was very um, natural in that approach. Just, what does my body tell me where to go, and that has helped me all along the way. So I had a great time with my first teacher, and then she moved away, and I had another teacher, and he didn't inspire me at all. He was a great guy. We had great conversations, but we never played piano. um, and
That sounds like one of my cello teachers when I was younger.
Yeah, well, I mean, what teacher you have when you're young is very instrumental in if you're going to pursue what you do or not.
Of course.
And so I'm glad I had my first teacher because she was so good. But the second guy, by the time I turned 13, I already discovered all this boogie woogie and blues stuff through my dad, and I would listen to recordings and lift it from the recordings and play a lot of that at home rather than playing. The teacher used to give me Shostakovich, and I'm 13, I don't want to play
Who
Shostakovich.
wants to play Shostakovich? I'm 13
Yeah,
years old.
that's right. Um, so uh, then when I was 13, I basically told my parents I don't want to go there anymore, and they took me out of the lessons. And that was the last time I had a piano lesson when I was 13.
Oh
And I
wow.
just, I kept on playing classical music because I love it so much, but played the stuff I wanted to play, which I think is important for kids always to play what they want to play to keep that relationship with the instrument positive. So, and then I just kind of did my thing, and I started performing when I was 16.
Wow. Wow. So you were like the classical phase was very quickly, in your past, and after what 5 years ish, and then right away at 16, you were doing your own thing. That's fantastic.
For sure, yeah. I still play classical at home the whole time
Yeah.
because I love it.
Yeah.
But performing it, I had, when you're 16, 17 years old and you have all that energy, I was more into, I mean, I was listening to AC/DC and the Stones and stuff like that. So I didn't want to, you know, I wanted to play like Jerry Lee or Little Richard or
Oh yeah,
something,
of course, of course, of course. So so I just want to go back a little bit. It's my ever forever story that I tell every time that you come to the theater or anywhere that I work. Um, because one of the things that is very gratifying as a presenter or a promoter is the idea that you're going to work with an artist throughout and follow them and how they evolve and everything, right? So I'm
yeah,
going to show you a little picture here, Michael. It's a program book from the Florida International Festival, summer 2005,
yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So I started to work there in 2002, but in 2005, I think it was with who was your agent then? Was it Darcy?
I think it was Darcy at
Darcy
that time. That's
Gregoire?
right. Yep, that's right.
Yeah, so invited you to the festival at the Bank and Blues Club. Really nice little club. That was fun
Hmm.
to have concerts there
Mm.
with emerging artists. And I remember very well then you were this you know young chap, like relatively, I would say shy. I think.
I'm still a
Uh,
little shy. We just know each
okay.
other now. That's why I'm talking so openly to you.
Okay, that's good. But the minute, the second you go on the piano, like you became
Yeah.
this monster, right? And it was
Mm.
really amazing. So my question to you is that from this pianist to the complete artist that you've become, you're an instrumentalist, you're a singer, songwriter, composer, producer, and maybe something else that I don't know yet. Um, so what's this evolution look like? Like how does that progress to where you are today?
Well, I think it's kind of natural. I never really planned from the very beginning, from when I was just telling you that I started performing when I was 16. From that moment on till now, I never really planned um, having a career in music. It was something that was part of my life for a while when I was young. It was my life, and so you just kind of follow what comes next. Um, and your interest in music and in things you do expands. So at the beginning, obviously, I wanted to really just play piano, and especially if you say once I sit at the piano and I turn into a different person, that's because I probably wanted to show off. When you're younger,
Sorry, they're
it's
cutting the
okay.
grass.
I didn't hear it.
We might have eventually. So
That's great.
sorry
Smells
about
good
that.
though.
Grass.
Uh, so anyway, so I really just wanted to show off as a kid and as a younger player because I thought I could do something other people couldn't, and then you kind of evolve and you want to write your own music and you want to even you have certain ideas in the studio and then you become a producer because you're actually like pushing your own ideas through, and um, and that's kind of what it's become. I'm just kind of all around. I have a vision of what my music should sound like because it's my music, and if I bring someone into the picture, like another producer or arranger or anyone in the band, it's usually someone who I either value what they bring in their own with their own mind, or someone who can translate what I have in mind.
And when you say, I know what my music should sound like, look like, feel like, tell us what's that?
Well, I see myself as a piano player. I don't even see myself as jazz or boogie woogie or anything. I'm just a piano player because I have so many interests like classical or uh, pop or 50s, whatever. Uh, and so they all come into what I do. I don't want to play jazz standards or I don't want to play just boogie woogie songs. I'm just kind of playing the piano. I'm not saying I'm the best piano player, but I'm playing the piano the way I want to hear it played. Otherwise, why would I
Got you.
play it this way? Um, and that's kind of what it is. Everyone has their own taste. It's just like food. If I make a meal, I might put a little more pepper in it than you. Who knows? Or less.
Here you go. So, evidently, as an artist, you're a touring artist, and you have a great career in Canada. You have
Yeah.
also working in the States and Europe. And I would say maybe not that many people know that, but I know that you also have a very good following in China.
Yeah.
So basically, you're globally touring. So what's touring like? How do you feel about touring? What's Michael Kaeshammer touring? What are your stories? What do you like? What you don't like about being a touring artist? Of course, it's part of who you are, what you have to do.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think especially because I'm not pursuing and I'm not competing with any kind of top 40 or any that kind of musical style. Touring is a huge part of my career. Um, and you have to be, there's good and bad in touring, obviously, but you have to put it into perspective always and focus on the positive. And I always say you get paid for not the playing, but you get paid for all the hard travel or early mornings or dealing with things you don't want to deal with or bad sound checks or whatever. The stuff that's maybe not so pleasant. But in the end, it's a great way to see the world. It's a great way to connect with people. Um, yeah, Josephine always comes with me. So one of the highlights is also to find restaurants in a city we go to and connect with local people. So there's a lot of positive in it, and I can power through an adrenaline pretty good. So it doesn't matter how much sleep we get on the road, um, and you kind of make up for it back home, and it's the payoff is huge because the band is along too, and they're all friends of mine. So it's really a great experience. And places like China, the people react very different. The audience reacts very different in China than they do in Europe or North America. So it teaches you something as a musician too, not just to go, I'm doing my thing, and you either like it or you don't, but you have to listen to the feedback and kind of make sure that okay, maybe I'm gonna go left here rather than you know what I would usually do.
So what would be the big difference between touring in Asia, the audience in Asia and North America, for instance?
Well, one thing I've noticed in China in particular is that the audience likes boogie woogie and fast music and blue notes and blues stuff, but really what they love is straight beats and chords that aren't too complicated. Stuff like so
Hmm.
that's also stuff I love to play. So I'm making sure. So my I went to China the first time in 2008 for the Olympics, and since then I've gone back 8 or 9 times, and I've it's actually changed my approach to how to handle an audience, even when I come back to Canada or the US or Europe, in a good way, just to be a little more open-minded to where they want to go.
Yeah, I know I'm putting you on the spot here, but any crazy touring stories to share today with us?
Well, there's always a little crazy wherever you go. you know, I and usually, I mean, we're not really crazy people, me and the band and anyone who's traveling with me. So there isn't really too many crazy things there, except there's crazy soundcheck stories where, or there's crazy food experiences. I remember one time in China, we I think it was only the second show of the tour. I started to play, and like I was just telling you, I'm starting in Canada. I might start with something a little faster, like a boogie, but there I start with a ballad. So I'm starting my ballad, and the whole sound system just starts to howl like a pack of wolves, and just people in the audience were holding their ears, and then the whole thing deafens down with a whistle, and everyone's just sitting there. And this is like 10 seconds into the show. And the promoter comes running up, and he goes, "Okay, we're going to do a master class now." And then bring up the kids. So they, they brought up the kids, or a couple
Well,
of the kids, and because the sound guy had to fix the problem. And so here I am. You got to go with the flow. So here I
yeah,
am. I'm
exactly.
all of a sudden, instead of playing a show, I'm teaching a couple of little kids.
That's but he was fast though. He was pretty nimble out there. Wow.
Very fast.
It's
Yeah, I
like
give
it's
him
almost
that.
like it's almost like he's used to it.
Well, there is mishaps once in a while that have to do with sound on that trip.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Got you. So let's talk about Markham Kaeshammer, the artist. The guy that creates. Michael, what is your inspiration? Where are your inspirations coming from?
Honestly, just my life. I hardly ever get really inspired by. I listen to a lot of music, but I don't really get inspired to write something from listening to someone else. Um, I used to. I mean, there was a time at the very beginning of my career where I might even put on a certain artist and think, okay, let's see how they write. Maybe I can kind of write like that. But I guess that's how you learn. And now it's mainly something that happens in my life, or if I feel like writing a song, I just sit down. Usually it starts with a lyrical idea. If it's an instrumental song, it starts with a melodic idea. But I love the most to sit down and just see where the song itself takes me, rather than consciously trying to figure out where a song should go. You might have an idea that's just a snippet of a melody or one line or even just a hook of any sort. Um, and then you just kind of follow it, and being part of that process as a just a human being, to be let it kind of go through you like that is the most fun about writing. And I just love to write. So I write all the time, even when I don't need any songs. There's lots of songs. They're probably out in the garage because they'll
Yeah.
never come out.
Well, I mean, you beat me to my next question of the creative process, and thank you for bringing that right away, because that's fascinating always to hear. It's not something that we hear much the artists talk about. So basically, yeah. So you write music, you write songs.
Mm.
You do you write all your songs, or you have someone helping you with the writing?
I write all my songs, but I have a few people that I love to write with,
Got you.
because I love co-writing. Co-writing is a thing that uh, is only enjoyable when, you know, like you and I are talking very natural now, and so it would be easy to co-write because I might give you an idea for our song, and you might say, "Yeah, that's not so good." And that's important to have that honesty and not be hurt because someone says your idea is no good. So I have a few people. There's a guy in Nashville I love to write with, John Goodwin. I love Mark Jordan is a great guy, and but you know, I love writing my own songs too. Yeah.
And as far as music, is that you have collaborators musically, or it's from A to Z Michael's music that we hear all the time?
Musically, it's usually me. It's usually
Okay.
lyrically that I love to throw ideas back and forth. And you know, someone like John is he reminds me a little bit of someone like, I mean, you know, these are big footsteps, but he reminds me a little bit of someone like Leonard Cohen, who with John you can just listen to him talk and it's poetry. So if you would just write down what he says while you talk to him, you got a song.
Wow,
You know,
amazing.
yeah.
So is that like you have a lot of material and then you decide to go recording, or you decide recording and then you work on it? What's your thought process usually? Because you seem
Ooh.
that you have a lot of things going on, even if you're not recording.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just things that I enjoy doing in my life, you know.
Yeah, of course.
So, and then when it's time to put out a recording, I might use some of the stuff I've written and pick the best stuff and pick things that actually fit with each other. Or if something's missing, I might actually go, okay, I'm gonna keep writing a little bit for this particular project. Um, and Yeah, so I'm never really running out of material. I'm never in a situation where I go, oh, I need a record. Oh God, I'll write again. You know, so it's not. I mean, I never think about it that way because it's.
That's right.
I actually miss. We've been pushing the recording back since spring 2020 because uh, we want to release it when
When you're touring.
touring comes back. Yeah,
Yeah,
when the
yeah,
pandemic is
yeah, yeah, of
back in,
course.
you know, when it's over. But so we're pushing the recording back, but that means in the meantime I keep writing. So the recording now looks completely different than it would have in March 2020.
Correct, correct. So is there anything specific you're working on currently?
Well, musically, nothing specific except that I do write almost, you know, daily or a lot. But I was working on. I kept a journal on my last trip to China because there are experiences that most people, even when you would go to China as a visitor or work, don't get to see because we're playing music in 20 different cities in across China, from you know, Mongolia to the South China Sea, and just areas that most people might not travel to unless there's some kind of work they have to do there.
Yeah.
So I wanted to document it, and then the pandemic hit, and we were sitting around the house last summer and just enjoying our time. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to turn this into a book. So I've been working on that a lot.
Oh, that should be fun. Looking forward to that. All right. So, I don't know if Michael is still with us, but here you are. So, Michael, tell me, I hope you hear me because you kind of frozen here.
Oh,
I guess it's the pleasure of those interviews. Here you go. You're back.
I am here.
So,
You heard I was
uh,
writing a book, right?
yeah, I heard
Okay,
that.
good.
Yeah, and I told you that I'm looking forward to read it.
Yeah, okay, okay, great. I didn't hear that.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
yeah, yeah. I
I'll
didn't
send you
think
a
so.
copy.
You kind of suddenly froze.
Yeah.
Anyways, how do you keep your chops sharpened? Are you a guy that practices? What?
Yeah, I don't have a routine. I think for me, playing piano is part of the day, you know, just as much as, I don't know, making bread or cooking or going into the garden. It's just part of the
Yeah,
day. So I might walk by the piano sometimes and sit down or just have the urge to play. So I do play every day, sometimes longer, sometimes shorter. I could sit here um, for hours and play if I have the urge. And it's usually just classical music that I play for myself, unless I'm writing. I don't work on the boogie stuff because that's already in the fingers.
Wow. So actually, you always answer my questions and leading to my next question. So you're beating me to it. Look at you.
You can still ask
So
it.
yeah, I will. But we talked about classical music, so
Yeah.
we all want to hear you play classical music. But before we do so, do you have a classical music favorite composer at all?
Yeah, it's my favorite composer since I was a kid is Beethoven by far.
Cool.
Um, I mean, it's just it started with the music teacher in my middle school uh, was a really nice guy, and he would play um, for the class sometimes, and he would always play, you know, and um, and he would also put Smetana on and some Mozart and a lot of Beethoven, and that really kind of inspired me. And then when it comes to playing, Beethoven makes a lot of sense just harmonically. You know, when you look at the keys, um, I learn a lot from playing Beethoven that I can use in my jazz. A lot. I mean, it's just you're dealing with 12 notes, these 12 notes. So there's only so much that can happen with those 12 notes, you know.
That's right.
And how you dress them up is whatever. Um, so I do learn a lot from it, yeah.
That's brilliant. So, really, really, I found out quite interesting that you primarily, when you practice, you do classical music. That's so. Then I guess we should hear some Beethoven now, shouldn't we?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, I sit here, I love anything from,
Well, your choice.
you know, or go a little more like, that's just great for the fingers and it makes a lot of sense harmonically. But then Beethoven was one of those people that had the beautiful ballads too, you know, and so you get so much from his music in not just harmonics, but um, feeling and what he wants to express. That uh, you know, the Beethoven sonatas is what I love to work on because it's listening to. I love the symphonies, the all of them really. The seventh probably being my favorite, or sixth. But what the sonatas are is they're basically symphonies for piano. I mean, they're so thick. You know, that's kind of like what the orchestration plays, and you can hear little things that the strings might do or that the bass does. So it's a lot of joy just to play that stuff around the house.
Well, what's your favorite symphony, Michael? Beethoven's symphony,
Well,
if
it's
you
a
have one.
tough one. It's a tough one, but I gotta say,
Yeah.
whenever I go back to the sixth, it. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking of it. It's so
Cool.
I'd say the sixth. My body just told
So,
me.
so is that can we do have a special demand as jazz composition in the future that would be inspired by the sixth?
Yeah, I can try something. I mean, see, I love this challenge.
Crazy idea. That's a
No, it's
challenge.
great.
So, Michael,
Absolutely.
how to be ready when you come back to Markham? How's that?
Perfect. I'll work on something. I mean, that probably gives me what, another couple of years?
Exactly. You have time.
Yeah, but that's a great idea. Uh, I will surprise you. And but then you come on
Oh,
stage when I do it. How about that?
whatever you want, my friend.
Okay, great.
So let's talk about this project, Boogie on the Blues Highway, Michael. And let's start with playing that trailer. So I think our
Yeah.
producer Ben will help us with that.
I care about the blues because it's what made me change from classical music to play something else. All of a sudden, I hear boogie woogie and blues piano, and I go, this is how the piano should be played.
You gotta wake up early in the morning. You gotta stay out all night long. Still won't catch up, plus I got a warning. I got a feeling that you wanna do me wrong.
I love playing the piano more than anything else. I got into it because of my dad. There was a lot of piano around the house when I grew up.
When I first moved to Canada, I was 18. I never planned to have a career in music. It was, all I did was play piano.
On this beautiful day, on this beautiful day.
Growing up in a little town in the Black Forest, it wasn't something anyone did, playing music and making a living with it. And I came to Vancouver. I went to all the bars and clubs, and I saw these guys get 50, 80 bucks and make a living doing this. And that's what made me go, that's what I want to do. This is what I'm going to dedicate my life to. When I grew up in Germany, I used to read a lot of books on blues and boogie woogie piano. It was before the internet. Go to record stores and read the liner notes and all that stuff and get my history from that. The music was just a vehicle to find joy. At the time, it was really just a way of life, a way of expression, and not playing right and wrong notes. Am I being authentic? There's no thought like that when you listen to blues musicians from the 20s, 30s, 40s. And there shouldn't be. It should just be a vehicle to get out what you have to say.
So many places I'm dying to see. Well, everywhere is better when you're with me. Turn every place into paradise. I really love the world when I see it through your eyes. Leave you kisses in sands above. I'll give you kisses in sands above. I'll go anywhere just to get to your heart. I drink a dirty martini down at Harry's bar. I jump a train on a boat, a plane on a car.
There was a place in Vancouver where we all hung out, all the piano players, and I was 18, 19. That's kind of where I cut my teeth, really playing that music a little more authentic rather than a kid from the Black Forest who listened to a bunch of records.
I love the way that life turned out as planned. Don't have a reason to stop and complain to anyone I know. Yes, I'm a lucky man. I turned my life into a big romance. Let me reveal an open secret to everyone I know. You're everything my heart desires. I'm in the dark to you. Lit my fire.
There we go.
I love the advertisement for a new album.
I know, right?
Spring
Is it out
2020.
yet?
No, I'm still working on it. I was going to be out, but then something happened.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, yeah. What is that? So, by the way, we're really happy that we can work together on this project and that
Yeah.
you allowed the theater, FLATC MARKHAM Theater, to actually present that to Canada and its audience in Markham. So, tell me a little bit about this project. So, how did it come about, like with American public television?
Well, it came through a couple of people planted the seed. Barb Hall from Nashville and Eric Luskin from American Public Television uh, came to see me in Toronto, actually, at a concert. Um, and the idea was there to do a special, but we didn't quite know where or what it would look like. And so we talked a little bit about when to do it and with whom. I was talking about some special guests, friends that I wanted to have there as special guests. And then when I came back to Vancouver Island, I had a chat with the promoter here at the local theater in my little town where I live, and it made sense. That made it round. That it made sense to do it there because it had special meaning to me. It was great to bring American Public Television to a little community like that, and within a month or two, the whole thing was planned, and we sold the tickets, and off we went.
Very cool. Very cool. And ultimately, I know that you surround yourself with great band members, and I'd like you to talk to us a little bit about them, and also very special guests.
Yeah,
So, how does this work? Like, how did it happen that those special guests came part of this project, and talk to us as well a little bit about the great musicians that you surrounded yourself and
yeah.
backup singers.
That's what actually just made me smile watching that trailer because I haven't seen the trailer in a little while, and I haven't seen all these people in a little while, um, except on phone calls and Zoom calls. But uh, the uh, the band that I picked for this one kind of surrounded the rhythm section. So the rhythm section is always very important to me as a piano player, and my two favorite players are David Pilch on bass, he's in LA, but he is a great Canadian bass player. And Johnny Vidakovic, who is a drummer who I've been a fan of since as far back as I can remember, because he used to play, he's from New Orleans, and he used to play with Professor Longhair and James Booker and all the piano players that I admired as a kid. And we've become friends over the years. And David and Johnny, uh, you know, they really respect each other, but also love each other as people. And that's very important in the rhythm section because you're trying to connect, and that foundation that you have to put the band on top is very important. So that was the core. And then my horn section has been the same for quite a while. It's William Sperandi, who's a Toronto guy, and William Karn, who's a Toronto guy, and then great sax player here from Vancouver, Steve Hilliam. So that was a no-brainer to put this horn section there. And same with the background singers. We've worked a lot together, Nicole Sinclair and Amoy Levy. And so that was the band. And now we needed a couple of special guests just to switch it up a little bit. And for that part, it was important to me to have people who are friends, who I like as people, because you're taping this kind of a concert and special, and you're spending way more time backstage than on stage. So if there's any kind of attitude or any kind of tension, it will directly translate to the stage. And so it was important to have friends there who I'm a fan of as well. Um, and they're all West Coast guys, a little from a little further away, some, and some just from around the corner. But Randy Bachman has we've done a few things on previous records together, so he was the first I asked. And Colin James, same thing. We've done something on a previous recording, and we're on the same label, and I just love his singing and playing. So those two guys said yes within a second, just a call, and they're there. I mean, that's amazing. And someone I'm a fan of as well, but didn't know for that long at that point, was Curtis Salgado. Uh, a friend of mine took me to see him play once in Portland, and I was hooked right away. One of the best blues singers I've heard. There's stories about, John Belushi based his character of the Blues Brothers on Salgado, and
Oh wow.
so
Hmm.
he used to sing with, well, I don't know, Santana and a bunch of other guys, and he's like
Does that?
he's my favorite blues singer there is out there right now. So I asked him too, and he's a very nice person, and he came up from Portland, and so we had a show. And then I was in the middle of all of it. But for me, it's
Brilliant.
just fun to hear all these people play. That's really one of the most enjoyable things for me, with what I do.
Yeah, for sure. And I know that people will love this show when they tune in on Saturday. Um, so tell me a little bit more about maybe uh, what does Michael Kaeshammer do when he doesn't play music? What do you do for having fun or to get out of this fantastic music bubble?
Well, I stay in my other bubbles. We have our own bubble going on here, me and Josephine, and we're basically, being on the West Coast is a great way to live uh, healthy, and still enjoy cooking elaborate meals. There's a lot of farms around here where we get our ingredients for cooking, and that's almost a daily process. Is that we don't eat food or cook food for just so we have something to eat, but an event out of it, even just the two of us, and it's definitely a big part of our life. And being out, and there's a lot of hiking in the area here, or going down to the beach. So yeah, and reading a lot and listening to records and writing and just kind of sometimes we realize that our life is pretty good. We have nothing to complain about, and
Yeah,
even though it could be different with touring and the pandemic, we miss our family in Europe a lot. But you got to see the positive. So we're having a good time. It's been a good year over the pandemic, I gotta say.
yeah. So finally the pandemic, and I know it's been hurting this industry
Yeah,
in a way that it's never been, and I'm always feeling for all the creators, the artists, agents, managers that
absolutely. Yeah, and
have to deal with that. So
there.
so it seems that you, as far as challenges and opportunities for you, you could navigate through that
Yeah, we we
in
have
a relatively positive way.
yeah we have friends who are not, well, I don't know how to put it. They're just not in a positive mindset about the whole situation. That's understandable too. But I'm a positive person anyway, and it gives you opportunities that if you see them and if you follow them, that you wouldn't have pursued otherwise, or that you wouldn't even have thought of otherwise. And it will come back in whatever shape and form at some point. But it would be wrong for me, at least, and for us to just sit here and wait.
Yeah, no, great point, and thank you for sharing that. And I understand that you had a little bit of time to work on another project that has nothing to do with the music bubble. Is it something about cooking or something like that? What?
Yeah, we're I mean, that's the idea too. Like I was just telling you what our day looks like. Uh, we thought it would be great to package it into a TV show or something. Like not a reality show, but just kind of I'm just as passionate about cooking and food as I am about music. So to incorporate the two um, would be a great way to expand the brand. I don't know what to call it. Me, whatever.
That's what
And
it
that's
is today, the
yeah,
brand,
I guess so. And that's what
the
we're
MK
trying to.
brand.
Now you sound like my agent. And and so we're working on concepts and people to yeah, translate that into something real. And it's fun. It's fun to be creative and see the fruits of our labor.
Cool, cool. So we got to look forward for a book, for a cooking show, and hopefully for Michael K. Sammer on stage as well.
Yeah,
Um,
it sounds like a
when
lot,
are we
but it's
gonna
not.
see you? When are we gonna see you on stage again, Michael?
Well, I think that's a question that you should answer.
That's true. Good
But
one.
you
I
know,
gotta say that's a good one. Thank you. Thank you. Well, and
Eric, when are we
it's a
going to
hard
see
one
me
to
back on
answer.
stage?
Yeah, that's right. Well, as soon as we can, my friend.
Yeah, I know. No,
I think the date we had for you last season, we postponed it 3 4 times. It's
yeah, we're
crazy.
gonna postpone it till. I mean, we're basically working on if it's Europe or, um, I mean, China's asking as well. Their way of dealing with the pandemic is seems to be a little further ahead. That's what they're telling me, at
Yeah,
least
yeah.
from the
So that's
promoters.
that's that's hopefully will bring you on stage quicker.
Yeah, well, but we're basically just working on stuff for 22. I don't expect there to be any touring, at least from my end this year.
So, Michael, it's been an incredible pleasure, and we're not going to see you on stage right now, but we have you now.
Yes, I'm here.
There's a piano just beside you, right there.
Yeah, in front of
And
me.
why don't we conclude our little chat today before I close with some great music?
Yeah, I'll play a
And
little bit. It's
let's
been
go.
great to talk to you too.
Thank you, Michael. So we will invite everyone, remind you that on Saturday, May 15th at 7 p.m., we all want you to get your tickets to log in and then own this fantastic show that we've been talking about today,
Yeah,
featuring Michael, Kaeshammer, and many incredible guests and a fantastic band. And we're very grateful to Michael that you allow us, that the Flat Markham Theater, to do this. I'd like to thank you so much for
thank
this.
you. It's been
Also,
great
I'd
to
like to
talk to you.
thank, yeah, excuse me.
I said, sorry, I said thank you. It's been great to talk to you.
Yeah, you bet. And likewise, I'd like to also thank the team of artists on lockdown, which we're so happy to be part of. And actually, the next edition of this series is going to be very exciting. So stay tuned. I want to thank Steve Love and his great team at Love Production, Ben Wheeler, the team at the Flutter Markham Theater, our marketing team, especially with Kayla Van Zon leading. And finally, just also want to take the opportunity to thank someone in our community that has always been a great fan of jazz and helping us to build the audience, which is so important. Our partner, Minkin Employment Lawyer, with Ron Minkin. So again, Saturday, May 15th, we're inviting you to actually follow Michael. You can find out how on casehammer.com,
That's right.
Kaeshhammer.com. You can follow him on Facebook. And don't hesitate also to follow us, the Flat Markham Theater, on Facebook for the next event that we're going to have as part of our live and connected season. Again, thank you, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.